Hello, everyone, and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Himvar. This is Liam's Leapings number 44. Is my weekly update for the 24th, I believe, of June 2023. This is going to be a quick one. I think I can keep this short. I'm actually recording this earlier in the day. I have things to do tonight. My kids are not presently home, so it works. Anyways, I'm bringing you the denizens of the internet, sword and sorcery. No, I'm just joking. This is just where I talk about the stuff I did this week. Before I forget, I did write a little story this week. I'm calling it Dissolution and Diaspora. Uh, it's really short. It's like 700 pieces. I read a lot of things like this. I feel like sometimes there's short pieces that are about 1,000 words or so, uh, and just like kind of exploring like a character. Some of them I don't write any more of. These are pieces I feel like will likely go up on my Patreon at some point. I don't know. It's hard for me to decide on what should go on my Patreon because I don't feel like I write enough to keep it up. Like uploading weekly, for example. I try to. Like, I had a story come out the last couple weeks actually. That was an old one. I'm like, this. There's like no chance I'm gonna get this published, so I'll just publish it myself. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have any ideas on what I should put on Patreon. Let me know. But I like to get these stories out, actual publications, and you can read them there. A lot of them are free to read, anyways. Speaking of, Kirkus Reviews did a review of Half Human Heroes today, I believe, and it was very positive, very short, about a long paragraph. They don't mention my story by name, but it overall is very positive of the anthology. So that was nice to hear and nice to see. This week, I read the first article in the most recent issue of The Dark Man Journal of Robert E. Howard and Pulp Studies. Main editor is Jason Ray Carney, who I'm actually having on the channel this Friday. That video will go out Wednesday. It should, at least. So I'm very excited. I wanted to talk to Jason last year, but I'm super excited about that, guys. Jason Ray Carney is awesome. So there was an interesting article on barbarians, basically, and barbarian predecessors to Robert E. Howard's, like Cole and Conan. So very interesting. And then I'm reading one by Philip Emery called "The Problem of Twos and Thune," which kind of is saying that Twos and Thune is the least effective, maybe, of Howard's Sword and Sorcery. So that's interesting. I didn't read any of Soldiers of Paradise this week, actually. I was on vacation during the weekend for a family reunion down in Utah. I did read this actually while I was on that vacation because it's a short little novella. It's cool mass market paperback size. It's The White Lion by Scott Oden. Very fun. Scott Oden does good whether it's a novel, a novella, or a short story. You just can't go wrong with Scott Oden. He's one of the best contemporary sword and sorcery authors. He has a penchant for historical settings. And this is right around the fall of Acre during the Crusades. So, yeah, 13th century. I believe it's late 13th century, if I remember correctly. You probably want to read this one. It's really short. I think it came out last year digitally, but just recently in paperback. So I'll have a review up for that one eventually. I did get some cool bookmarks actually from Jerry. Hi, Jerry, if you're watching. We got Foundation's Edge, Isaac Asimov. That's Wayland art, I believe. But I actually have a copy of this book. And then a couple for some Thomas Covenant books. White Gold Welded, which is book 3 in the Second Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. I don't have that book. But then we have The Wounded Land, which is book 1 in the second trilogy of Thomas Covenant. I do have this book. I have the first 3 Thomas Covenant books and then The Wounded Land. I've not read any of them. I have lots of books on my shelf I plan to read, at some point. It just depends on when I'm actually going to get to them. So I'd like that to be sooner rather than later. But thanks, Jerry, for these cool bookmarks. They're a little vintage, you could say. So, yeah, they're pretty cool looking too, to be honest. I especially like this one, I think. And then, honestly, this one's pretty simple, but I like it as well. So, I have to put those to use. And then, so I read The White Lion. I read War of the Worlds. I don't have a physical copy, so I guess I listened to it. By H.G. Wells. I wanted to get classic in. There's shorts. It was pretty good, actually. I enjoyed reading. Definitely not my favorite, like Fonda Sekla, like novel by any means, but interesting. Probably the oldest sci-fi I've read now. But anyways, excuse me. The other book I finished was The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, by Joe Applecrumble, by Joe Addelwell. Anyways, no, that's an old reference to something that none of you probably recognize. But this is my first Joe Abercrombie read, and I thought for a while I probably would like this. So my first thought was it's popular. I probably won't like it. I was getting out of reading popular books around the time I realized that maybe I should read this. And I was like, some things sound like I probably won't like them that much. There's a lot of stuff out there that's overrated, or at least it seems like it's overrated. Like Wheel of Time. I'd been burned on Realms of the Elderlands, even though I only ever read Assassin's Apprentice. I didn't enjoy it. People tell me to continue, but I don't know if that's actually worth my time because there's plenty of good books out there that I know are going to be good when. Anyways, so this was actually pretty good. Now, this is not perfect by any means. I was not blown away, but I really enjoyed the character work here. I guess it's grimdark, technically. That's what people will say. I don't know if that's the most useful label ever. I found it kind of going towards realism, if that makes sense. It is very traditional, though, as far as epic fantasy goes as well, but is a little fresher. It's kind of like it's kind of like A Song of Ice and Fire, but not as cynical, which was my problem with A Song of Ice and Fire, that it seemed like um, the author, Martin, did not like humanity. I don't get that feeling from Abercrombie. There definitely seems to be room for redemption here and for good guys, essentially. But it is all very kind of relative in a sense. I really like it. I'm looking forward to reading the next 2 books and probably more beyond that. But I hear this is the weakest one, though, as well. So it's pretty good. I do not like the minimalist cover. The other covers are even worse. I just can't stand minimalism, guys. This is awful. I guess British people like it, but that is an infection. Anyways, sorry if you like minimalism. A novel I did get, though, when I was on vacation at a local bookstore in Utah I like to go to. It's been recommended to me by Dave Butler, DJ Butler. You should read his books. Hi, Dave, if you're watching this. So 7 Eves. Got a copy of it. It was a discount for Father's Day, and it was actually cheaper to buy it from this bookstore this time. So I got a copy of it. It's a little thicker than I'm used to in some ways. It's 860 some odd pages, but I think it'll be good. Neil Stevenson does not sound like an author name to me, though. It does not sound like an author name. Sorry. I guess it doesn't really matter. I actually got this other book I should mention. Lord Dunsany biography. I needed this for a project, so I'll just mention that briefly. Then I'm reading Burden to Bear digitally still by Gregory Amato. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a little over halfway now. I didn't read as much as I would have liked to mostly because of vacation. And then I'm also reading Artifact of Evil by Gary Gygax. I found a second copy while on vacation. That was actually what's been keeping me. I read the first book almost 2 years ago, Saga of Old City, which I really liked. Artifact of Evil is definitely more on the epic fantasy side of things. Saga of Old City is very sword and sorcery, and I really liked it again. But it's almost 2 years ago, and that's because my copy of Artifact of Evil is falling apart. And I was like, I don't want this book to be ruined. So I found another copy, almost equally as bad. But I'm like, I can read one of these, and if it falls apart on me, I'll still have another copy that I can sit on my shelf. So I'm reading Artifact of Evil. It's not my favorite by any means, because like I said, it's definitely epic fantasy. It's definitely not the best epic fantasy. It definitely seems rather derivative, typical of mid-'80s epic fantasy. Of course, that's not saying all 80s epic fantasy sucks. I'm just saying it's typical of a lot of 80s epic fantasy. And it's not a sword and sorcery, which is kind of a bummer. But as of right now, there's like a party of 13, almost like the Fellowship of the Ring thing going on over here. And wrong number, I know that. But I am enjoying it. I'm about 75 pages in right now. I forgot both my copies. I didn't grab either of them. I'm recording this kind of on the whim. So that's about it. I didn't do a ton of studies this week. And the little bit I did, I don't think you care for. And then, I think I did. I mean, I guess I did technically read. What is that called? A Monster Calls. Anyways, yeah, I didn't grab that either. And then, yeah, basically, I'm going to try to get back to the books I haven't read or finished recently. Beneath the Web by Abby, Kill Switch by Shepard, and The Way of a Dawn by Chase. been meaning to read those. The background here is actually the cover for Whetstone #7, which just came out. I was super disappointed I didn't actually get in this one. I really thought my story would be fine, but I realized that my stories are I write these Aryan stories, and they're just kind of, I guess, maybe not that good. Maybe they just don't work as well as I think they do. But I realize they're a little out there. So, yeah. But someone that I know watches the channel from time to time, at least QWERTY, I believes, uh, what is he is online, whatever you are, sir, person. But a ritual brew, it appears in Whetstone #7. This is by, again, Sharang Inamdar. Yeah. Anyways, that's sorry. Actually, if you're watching this, tell me how to say your name, please. I would like to know. That's one of my pet peeves, is not being able to say names correctly. Uh, Even when it's another language, I want to be able to get it right. So, um, yeah. Anyways, so this was really fun. Actually, it got a chuckle out of me, and it's pretty cool. It's compared to Druss, like defending Druss Donut, whatever legend, by Gamble, and that's a decent comparison. It is kind of like military fantasy almost. It almost is like, a D&D party, but there's someone there that obviously has authority here. It's more military esque. Um, but definitely like Southern Asia inspired, I would say, and very fun. And again, like I said, it's just kind of funny at the end. This kind of reversal of sorts that happens that is very effective, I think. Doesn't take away at all from the story, but adds a lot, I think. So very, very nice. I believe this is the only thing Inamdar has published. I could be wrong. But yeah, anyways, so that's basically my update for this week. You guys have any feedback, let me know what you read this week as well. So yeah. Hope you have a good one. Hope you have had a good one. Yes. Bye.